Well, when New Yorkers head to the polls a week from today, they're going to be faced with some tough decisions on who they want to elect as senator and who's going to be representing them.
New York Senator Chuck Schumer is the majority leader of the U.S. Senate. He is running for another 6-term year. He is facing Republican nominee Joe Pinion. Joe was born and raised in Yonkers. He's an entrepreneur, political news commentator. And Joe Pinion will give his opinion this morning right here on Good Day New York. Nice to have you here.
Good to be here with you.
All right, so why do you want to be our senator?
Well, New York State is in trouble, and I think America is not far behind. And I think that when you look at the problems facing New York State, from a Rochester, New York that has more murder per capita than Chicago, Illinois, with a New York City that watched shootings go up 90%, homicide go up 30% because of the 3 most dangerous words ever uttered in modern politics: defund the police. We have a U.S. senator that has done nothing, has said nothing. You look at our schools, 1 out of 3 black children in this state are living in poverty, but that is driven by the fact that 60% of all of our children are not reading at proficient levels. The report came out just 2 weeks ago. 70% of the black students are failing the math exam. That is child abuse by any other metric. So
why? So obviously, are you for charter schools and choice?
Certainly. I think it is a civil rights issue of our time. We need school choice.
So why is it year after year that we're allowing this to happen? Children being promoted to grades that they have not earned, and yet we will do nothing to change the system.
Because the educational system is not designed for our children. It is designed to protect the status quo. And I think when you look at all the issues all across this state, it is quite clear that our children are not the priority. How else? My hometown of Yonkers, the average school building is 75 years old. We have buildings that were built in the 19th century that are woefully inadequate for a 21st century world. And when you have children being rained on in math class, that is not really a recipe for success. And we see this government-sanctioned neglect all across our state and our city. NYCHA housing, $40 billion behind in repairs.
Yeah.
Investigations at the state level and the federal level. The most powerful man in D.C., not named Joseph Robinette Biden, is our senator, the senior senator from this state, Charles Ellis Schumer. Where is the investigation into all of these atrocities, human rights crises?
Joe, I got to ask you, though, because when you're talking about these issues, which we know need major overhaul,
yes,
it costs money.
Right.
And one thing that people are worried about in this upcoming election cycle is the economy. You have some experience in this in the private sector as well as nonprofit work in the media. Where do you see being able to fix that? I mean, you're chipping away at an iceberg here.
Well, look, I think first and foremost, we have to stop with the Band-Aid solutions that just get us through an election cycle and don't actually put us on a pathway for success. Yes, things cost money. But to be clear, I'm 39 years old. Every decade of my life, we have spent more money educating less children for worse results. So, yes, we need to spend more money. We need to have a robust investment in federally qualified health centers to deal with a mental health crisis that is crippling this nation. We need more money to make sure that our children are getting the education they deserve, to secure our schools, because children being shot in the classroom is a scourge that no one should ever even have to think about, much less endure. So I think all of those issues do require money, but we also need better stewardship of the expansive amount of resources we're spending today in order to make sure that these people are actually getting the services that we are paying for. Quality of life is down because they ask for more money, but we do not get better results.
Well, that's the thing. You're talking about the stewardship, and we mention that a lot here, especially when you see these big budgets. But just talk about, in general, why you're more qualified than Chuck Schumer, who's been, in his position for 42 years.
Well, my grandfather told me a long time ago, just because you've been doing something for a long time doesn't mean you're actually necessarily doing a good job. Chuck Schumer always has promises for us tomorrow. We're like extras in Annie. It's always a day away. We've had 42 years of yesterday with Chuck Schumer. That's how long he's been in D.C. The results speak for themselves.
But he's a very powerful man in D.C.
What is the purpose of the power if it does not empower the people that gave it to you? Where are the salt deductions for the homeowners that are struggling to make ends meet? Where are the actual tax breaks for the middle class that is desperate to make sure that they can make their American dreams met? You look at the tax break that we have, or actually the loan reduction for the actual college students. Yes, that is a good thing, but it's a Band-Aid when you realize that in my lifetime, from 1983 to present, college tuition has gone up 500%.
Well, Joe, he was arguing for some money for the lantern flies. That was also part of what he was arguing for.
Let's be very clear. Chuck Schumer has been an exceptional politician. It's what I said on the debate stage. But he has been a failed senator. Anybody who is in the Senate will have a record if you're there long enough. The Senate will always act in the midst of a crisis. The job of the Senate is not to respond to a crisis.
Well,
He
says he got money for infrastructure.
He's always going to be able to procure money. He's in the United States Senate, the most robust body, the most deliberative body on the planet. Even if you look at Broadway, we've got Lin-Manuel Miranda cutting ads for the most powerful man in D.C. Let's remember that right now, as we sit here, the best show on Broadway, most successful commercially, the Phantom of the Opera, my favorite show, it is closing its doors permanently. The Majestic Theater is going to have to find a new tenant for the first time since 1987. Why? Because the crime has scared the patrons away, and because the inflation has made it impossible for that chandelier to stay on. So let's be very clear. He has done many things. He has passed many bills. But what are the outcomes of the things he has done? It is less than we deserve, and New Yorkers deserve a senator that prioritizes our needs, not the needs of one political party.
So, I mean, has he done enough on the migrant situation? As you know, our mayor was pleading with the president that we could not afford this. Our shelter system is stretched. By the way, we haven't heard anything because now we're getting close to elections. Everybody's keeping mum on the migrant situation. Where does that stand?
You cannot solve a problem you do not acknowledge exists. For 2 years, Chuck Schumer pretended that the immigration problem, that the border problem was just a Republican talking point. Well, it turns out it has come to a door near you because the mayor of New York City just declared a state of emergency for the migrant crisis our senator said was a figment of our imagination. So we just have to be very clear here that yes, Chuck Schumer finds a wonderful way to paint a beautiful picture about everything he has done for us. But when you have seniors like my mother terrified of the mailman because the electric bill is going to give them a heart attack, when you have people living on fixed incomes who have watched their 401k down $30,000, who have watched their annual earnings go down $4,000, who have watched their annual buying power down $6,000, that is not a legacy of success, it is a legacy of failure. He arrived in D.C. 42 years ago in the midst of record inflation, and what do we have here today with him being the most powerful man in the United States Senate, a 41-year high for inflation.
I do want to ask you, though, in terms of, let's not talk about legacy, let's talk about what you would do, steps you would take to curb crime and violence here, because that's a very big issue.
Let's be very clear. The biggest bat that the federal government has is the power of the purse. We need to leverage the power of the purse to ensure the government is not held to a lower standard than the private sector. We talked about public housing. If a private developer owned those buildings, they'd be in prison because we have lead in the drinking water, we have arsenic in the drinking water. That is something that cannot be allowed, and yet the man who has the power to convene an investigation on any day he seeks to do so has ignored that crisis. Our schools, again, 70% of the black students in New York City failed the math exam. Not 20, not 30, not 40, 70%. That is child abuse. Where is the investigation into that? So for me, it's about bringing accountability and stewardship to D.C. From education, we do that with school choice. If we're talking about safety and security, it must start on the southern border. We must secure it. That is not a wall. That means on some places you need a fence because the terrain is not the same. Some places you need a wall. Some places you need border agents, which means maybe we should actually hire more border agents, not IRS agents, to come after people on Main Street. Those
Joe
are my
Pinion,
priorities.
oh boy, you got a lot of opinions on things, Joe
Well, it's
Pinion.
not opinions. These are concrete plans for what needs to be done to ensure New Yorkers get the safety and security that was promised. 2021, the most dangerous year to wear a badge in the history of this country. And what has Chuck Schumer done to secure the heroes? Absolutely nothing. That's why we're endorsed by most of the police unions all across this great state.
Thank you for coming on and sharing your opinions with us on Good Day. We want you to know we did reach out to Senator Chuck Schumer several times. We have offered him a time to come on and any time to come on. It's still open, Chuck. So.
Well, we'll come back. And people can go to joepinion.com to learn more about us and our plans, because after 42 years, 24 years in the Senate, we deserve someone that prioritizes New York and nothing else.
Joe Pinion, thank you so much. Appreciate it.